My name is Samuel Mukulari, and this is my country report. My country is the Republic of Armenia, and Armenia is a Euro-Asian country, which means it's in the middle of Europe and Asia. Armenia has a parliamentary democracy, but according to Freedom in the World website, Armenia's aggregated freedom score is only 51 out of 100, which suggests that Armenia is partly free. This makes sense because in 2018 there was a mass anti-government protest and there was a change of government, and a lot of former political elite were forced out of the government because of corruption. The new Armenian prime minister since 2018 is Nikol Pashinyan. The new government has promised to fix many long-term problems, including corruption, untransparent policymaking, and bad electoral system with weak rule of law. There is also evidence that many oligarchs have influence over policymakers. Russia in the past has also had influence over Armenia, but evidence suggests that they did not interfere with the 2018 elections. The new government is also trying to be more transparent and have greater access to the citizens through social media and television. This is a good thing for Armenia, so they can give confidence back to the citizens. Armenia has a mixed economic system with private freedom and centralized economic planning with government regulations. Their economic freedom score is 67.7, and they are the 47th freest in the 2019 index. Armenia's former government tried to fix the business environment through reduced corruption, tax reform, increased transparency and of procurement process, but it is hard because of Armenia's geographic isolation, narrow export base, and monopolies in import business sectors. Armenia's legal system is civil law, is also part of the International Chambers of Commerce, and also in 2003 joined the World Trade Organization. Armenia's rule of law protects secured interest in real property and personal property, but the judiciary system lacks efficiency and is stagnant. And corruption is not always prosecuted in Armenia. Armenia's Hulam development score is 0.76, which is 0.04 points from being considered a developed country. Armenia's business climate is rated B for mediocre, and Armenia's country risk rating is C, which is in the middle of acceptable risk and high risk. Overall, Armenia has a moderate to high economic risk levels. Now this brings me to the cultural environment portion. Armenia's majority ethnic group is 97.9% Armenian, 1.3% Kurd, and 0.5% Russian, and 3% other. And there is no official score for Armenia regarding the Hofstede's cultural dimensions. In Armenia, gender roles are sharply differentiated. Armenian culture stresses the division of domains between genders. The woman domain is the household, and the man is to work outside the home. But both men and women do work outside the home, but the women's duties are to maintain the home, including house chores and cooking for the family. But there is a growing independence for women in city areas, and there is a big difference in views in rural versus urban areas, and they're almost seen as two different countries. Armenia has a high collectivism because they put great value in the extended family and the community. Armenians also want individual freedoms and self accusation for both men and women. This makes me believe that they fall between individualism and collectivism dimensions. Leaders are viewed as higher in the social class hierarchy than their subordinates. Armenia has a high power distance dimension. Armenia has a low uncertainty avoidance because Armenians live generally day by day and don't worry about uncertainties. For example, most Armenians don't seek medical attention unless they are desperate. And there is a lack of health insurance, retirement plans, investments, alarm systems, fire detectors, and saving programs because they're all new concepts for Armenians. This is why I believe they fall in the low uncertainty avoidance. Now, this brings me to if Armenia is a viable location for US firms to expand. So, I believe that Armenia is a viable location for US firms to expand to. Armenia's economy is slowly recovering from a global financial crisis. Armenia is receiving assistance from international donors and has implemented programs for reform and strengthening the banking and financial service sectors. And the recent unexpected political changes has not negatively affected the market. And in fact, the Armenian currency has stayed stable for 5 years with only minor fluctuations. The inflation rate in Armenia has also been steady. In 2018, the inflation rate was only 2.42% from the previous year. $1 is worth 478.12 Armenian dram. Based on this information, there is a low currency risk associated with the Armenian dram. In 2015 of May, the Armenian US government signed a trade and investment framework agreement, which is a bilateral agreement. This agreement facilitates a strategic framework and principles for conversations on investments and trade issues. This agreement will make it possible for multiple parties with mutual interest to improve cooperation and increase opportunities for trade and investments with the engagement of the governments to protect those interests. Armenia did, however, become part of the Eurasian Economic Union, which America is not part of, and this could cause some trade barriers to Armenia, including tariff and non-tariff trade barriers. Some tariff and non-tariff trade barriers are reference pricing on custom duties and complying with complex standardizations. However, Armenia has made it easier by implementing self-declaration desks at customs and warehouses, also providing new technology to improve border operations and risk management. Also, since the new government change, great improvements in understanding in laws and procedures have led to a decrease and avoidance of corrupt policies. Another good thing is that Armenia's rule of law protects secured interest in real property and personal property. This will give US firms peace of mind knowing that their investments will be protected. So this brings me to my advice part. So as I mentioned, that Armenia has joined the Eurasian Economic Union in 2015. But this should not discourage US firms, because with the right consultants who are experts in the EU law and regulations, there should be no major problems. The only bad part is about the cost of buying or getting assistance from these counselors. It may be in the best interest of the US firms to also be up to date with new policies. This may include hiring a local Armenian lawyer to provide counsel to the US firms. It is also in the best interest that U.S. firms should have a good legal team to understand how the Armenian legal system works. Since there is also a new government change, new policies will always be becoming apparent more and more. So it is in the best interest for the U.S. firms to be up to date with all the new policies so they can better protect themselves from those changes. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.